Well, it's about application performance. It's about scale. When I was at BT, we had the largest call centre on the planet with over 3,000 call centre operators on a single CRM system. And one of the biggest issues that we had was storage performance. Equally, large organisations, oil companies and so on, using SAP, one of the biggest problems that they've got is storage and the storage performance. It's not so much about capacity anymore, it's about performance, it's about IOPS and latency. And storage is the ragged child of the IT industry. It really hasn't kept up with the performance improvements we've seen in CPUs. We hear about Moore's law, which is an exponential growth curve, multi-cores. I remember my very first microprocessor, I think, was 4 megahertz, not gigahertz, 4 megahertz. And now we're nearly 4 gigahertz in terms of normal commodity processors. My first processor had 1 core. We've got 16 cores in some of the more modern Intel chips. So really fundamentally different and massive difference from those days. But disks just haven't changed in terms of performance, not in any sort of order of magnitude. What we're talking about here is either a hybrid storage array or using tiering, where we have a tier, typically we call it tier 0 now, because tier 1 is high performance 15,000 RPM disks, so tier 0 is the flash. What that depends on is it depends on having certain types of workload. It depends on having workload that you can keep most of the data in the cache. And what putting flash at the front end does is it expands the amount of cache that a typical storage controller has, which is the RAM in the CPU part of the storage controller, to be the flash built into the storage array. Now, if your workload won't fit into that cache, then you're going to see very choppy performance. It's really not going to work. And I don't care what your software control looks like, it's not going to be very good. My take is that for many workloads with deduplication technology, you actually find that you don't need to put magnetic disks at the back end, because it can actually be cheaper to deploy an all-flash array with dedupe or compression. Now, for certain workloads, long tail type workloads, where perhaps you're storing lots of files, office files, documents, PowerPoint slides and Excel spreadsheets, and some of this stuff never gets used again, or doesn't get used again very frequently. Having a hybrid array where you can actually migrate the older stuff off to magnetic can be quite cost effective.